Well, good afternoon. I hope you're having a nice day wherever you might be. It's been a couple of difficult weeks for a lot of people. In fact, over a month now since the disappearance of Libby Squire, an English woman who disappeared, a student who disappeared on a night out with friends. And to this day, over a month later, hasn't been found. Nobody seems to have a clue where she has gone. She's just disappeared off the face of the earth. Today in court, a Polish butcher who lived very close to her on Raglan Street, Pavel Relevich, has been in court, and he's been dealing with 7 counts of criminal activity, 2 counts of burglary, 2 counts of voyeurism, 2 counts of outraging public decency, and 1 of receiving stolen goods between 2017 and 2019. So he has pretty much a bad record. And he was rearrested again because he was arrested a couple of weeks ago in relation to voyeurism and other things. These are totally different charges now as well as the ones he's already faced. So there's a lot of charges there, and this guy was living very close to her. So he is and will be a person of interest for the police, although he's not been charged with anything in relation to Libby Squire. He was arrested on the 6th of February on suspicion of abduction, but he hasn't been charged with that. He's been charged with other offences, and he's in court this morning to face those charges, and we'll find out actually later this afternoon exactly what's happening in that case. But it's very similar actually, because I live in Ireland, and we had a young man of similar age to Libby, maybe a couple of years older, and he was working in a bank in Bank of Ireland actually it was near a place called Haddington Road in Dublin 4, Percy Place, and he just vanished in the year 2000, just vanished off the face of the earth, and 19 years later there's still no sign of him, and still no sign of anybody or any kind of clues to what might happen. Although there was CCTV footage of the night he went missing. It was a very bad night, lots of rain, lots of wind, and there was CCTV footage of him coming back from his Christmas party and visiting some of his friends in the bank, because the bank was open 24 hours, so he went back at about 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. to see how they were doing and to grab an umbrella because it was so bad. And he was seen at the main gate of that bank just chatting to a man. We don't know who that man was. He never came forward. And then later that night, maybe 10 or 15 minutes after that, or possibly 20 minutes, he was seen then being followed by somebody down the street. And again, that person never came forward, so we don't know who that was. There was all sorts of rumours and speculation that there was criminal activity involved, that he ran into somebody he shouldn't have, or some criminal put him in the boot of his car and stuff like that. But we don't know. There's no hard evidence. And it's the same with this Libby Squire case. There's a lot of people on, hypothetically saying what happened, and I have participated in that. And we're doing it with the best in mind for Libby. A lot of people are on there, you might call them armchair detectives, or some people who may have worked in security, or some people who've worked in the police force before, coming up with all sorts of reasons why she might have gone missing. And I think it's done in the best of taste. There are some people who are nasty, and we don't want to know those type of people, and they should be blocked and kept off the Twitter and the Facebook. But it's interesting to see exactly, what's happening in the case. The police have been very coy in relation to their investigation, and we don't really know. We know that the Polish butcher has been rearrested and charged today with different counts of stuff, but we don't know, have they seen other CCTV footage of her after that, and they haven't released that. There was a person seen smoking a rolled up cigarette in a car, and there was a cobweb on the camera, on the CCTV footage, which kind of disturbed the picture. You couldn't really see who it was. So again, it's very difficult to know. But the one thing to remember is that the police have drained all the rivers and the lakes nearby, and they've gone through it painstakingly with men on little dinghies, policemen, and they've had divers go down, and so they've done the best they could under the circumstances. They've done everything they can to find them, so the police have to be applauded for that. It's not an easy job. It's easy for everybody to say, why didn't they do this and why did they do that? But the blood-curdling scream that was heard, I have to say, that to me is that's a clue to something that happened to her. I think that blood-curdling scream. But the woman that heard that sat up in her bed, and it made her sit up in bed. Now, I've heard students outside my window screaming, and the difference between someone having a laugh or being joking about, and then somebody who's in danger. And that blood-curdling scream, I don't know how much of it was investigated, but the person who heard it said they heard a door slam or a gate slam. And that's another clue as well. Was she bundled into a car, or was she bundled into a property nearby? I don't know whether the police have gone door to door and have... they did get them to fill out... they got people in the local area to fill out forms, like they had 20 questions. So would have got them all back, and it's probably to do with alibis as well, but it's one of those things. But I always remember the case of Alice Gross, and she was from Ealing. Is that in London? Because I'm not too familiar with London itself, but I think it was inside of London or outside of London. And she was just cycling by, and unfortunately she met this Lithuanian or Latvian man called Arnis Zalkans, who shouldn't have been in the country of England. He shouldn't have even been let in, because he'd murdered his wife, battered her to death in his own country of Latvia, and then was let in to the UK. Seemed to just get in no problem. And that is crazy how he even got in. He should never have been let in, but he got in, and then he killed Alice Gross. And he hid her body so well. It was like hiding a needle in a haystack. It was so well hidden along the bank of a canal that the police would never have found her. Only that some very clever policemen who were diving went and checked and double checked, and they found her wrapped up underneath. So God only knows what could be happening in the Libby Squire case. But we all hope, and I hope, that she turns up safely. Maybe she's been kidnapped and held against her will somewhere, and that she walks into the arms of the police and her parents. That's what I'm hoping for. Hope you're feeling the same thing. But we also have to think of the other side, that it may not be that. It may not have a happy ending, but somebody must know something out there. Somebody must know someone who was acting suspiciously maybe after her disappearance. That's always a giveaway. You can't act the same way, unless you're cold-hearted. Somebody must know something. And if you do know something, contact Humberside Police, because they'd be interested to speak to you. But we'll give you another update when we hear about this particular Polish butcher, Pavel Relowicz, and see exactly what he was charged with in court, and if he's going to serve a prison sentence. We'll let you know maybe in the next 24 or 48 hours and give you another update. But thanks for watching, and let's hope Libby Squire is found very, very soon.